students, welcome to OL Experts. This is your biology class where we try and make biology interesting and understandable. So today we are going to begin with the third chapter in your ecology unit, which is biodiversity and conservation. In this chapter we are going to know what exactly is biodiversity. Then we will also be discussing biodiversity at various levels. Further on, we will be talking about how biodiversity is being lost in the coming years, in the past years, how it is being lost because of several reasons. And finally, we will be talking about how we can prevent such losses. We will be talking about how we can conserve and preserve biodiversity so that it remains in its natural habit. So let us begin. So first of all, we should know what exactly is biodiversity. Biodiversity comes from two words, bio and diversity. Bio means life, or in this term, living organisms that we will consider, and diversity means variability. So biodiversity can be simply defined as the type of variety or variability which occurs in the living organisms, in the species, in the organismal groups, as well as the ecosystem complexes which occur in nature on the earth as a whole. Biodiversity की अगर बात करें, it actually presents astonishing and fascinating numbers. For example, can you imagine there are more than 20,000 species of only ants? There are almost 28,000 species of fishes. There are more than 3 lakh species of only beetles. Now this is actually whooping numbers, and ecologists have from a very long time tried to figure out the purpose and significance of such diversity. Well, we'll talk about that as well. However, the term biodiversity, if we talk about, it was actually popularized by Edward Wilson. He was a sociobiologist who said that actually biodiversity describes all levels of diversity. It ranges from macromolecules within the cells to genes, to species, to ecosystems and even biomes. So हर लेवल पे एज सच हम लोग बायोडाइवर्सिटी को स्टडी कर सकते हैं और उसको एनालाइज कर सकते हैं. Now what are the different levels of biological organization? So like I said, Edward Wilson ने बोला कि बायोडाइवर्सिटी सिर्फ स्पीशीज के ही बीच में नहीं होती है, बल्कि लोएस्ट लेवल से स्टार्ट होती है. इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम द पॉइंट ऑफ सेल्स एंड जीन्स, राइट? So there are several levels of biological organization, like for example genetic diversity, species diversity, and on a whole ecological diversity. So let us talk about that. Genetic diversity is basically related to the variation, the diversity which occurs at genetic level, right? So genetic level पे जो भी variations होंगे, जाहिर सी बात है जब organism का size बढ़ेगा, उसका distributional range बढ़ेगा, वैसे वैसे जेनेटिक डाइवर्सिटी भी बढ़ती जाएगी. इट इज एक्चुअली द मेजर ऑफ वेरिएशन ऑफ जेनेटिक इंफॉर्मेशन विच कैन बी द वेरिएशंस इन अलील्स, द वेरिएशन इन जीन्स और इवन द क्रोमोसोमल स्ट्रक्चर्स फॉर दैट मैटर. सो इन सभी को मिला के हम लोग बोलते हैं जेनेटिक डाइवर्सिटी अकर्स इन अ पर्टिकुलर पॉपुलेशन. नाउ व्हाट आर द एग्जांपल? इफ वी आर टू अंडरस्टैंड जेनेटिक डाइवर्सिटी विद द हेल्प ऑफ एन एग्जांपल, a plant, a medicinal plant which grows in the different Himalayan ranges by the name of Rauwolfia serpentina or Rauwolfia vomitaria is one example. ये plant actually एक product produce करता है, एक chemical produce करता है by the name of reserpine. और क्योंकि इस plant में इतना ज़्यादा genetic variations होते हैं, that is why the different plants they actually produce these chemical which are different in their potency as well as in their concentration, right? So you can understand कि genetic variation की वजह से actually कितने सारे characters differ कर जाते हैं, कितने ज़्यादा characters related to production of certain chemicals या फिर phenotypic characters जो occurrence में होता है या फिर जो हमें दिखता है, वो सब differ करते हैं because of these genetic variations. Another example is that of varieties of mango. 1000 varieties of mango are तो known in India. In fact, यहाँ पर हर state का एक dominant variety होता है mango का. Almost 50,000 different strains of rice are also known in India, right? And all of these different strains are due to some of the other kind of genetic variation. And obviously, because there is genetic variation, there is an increase in genetic diversity. Then let us talk about species diversity. जब हम स्पीशीज की बात करते हैं तो एक्चुअली हम एक पॉपुलेशन में एक पर्टिकुलर स्पीशीज को एनालाइज कर रहे होते हैं और देख रहे होते हैं वो कितनी रिच है इन अ पर्टिकुलर एरिया, राइट। सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर हम वेस्टर्न घाट्स और ईस्टर्न घाट्स को कंपेयर करें ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ स्पीशीज ऑफ एम्फीबियंस, तो हम लोग बोल सकते हैं कि वेस्टर्न घाट्स में एम्फीबियन स्पीशीज काफ़ी ज़्यादा रिच हैं, काफ़ी ज़्यादा स्पीशीज डाइवर्सिटी शो करती हैं एज कम्पेयर टू द ईस्टर्न घाट्स। द नंबर ऑफ स्पीशीज पर यूनिट एरिया जो एक्चुअली हम एनालाइज करते हैं टू मेजर स्पीशीज डाइवर्सिटी इज टर्म्ड एज स्पीशीज रिचनेस, जबकि द नंबर ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स ऑफ वेरियस स्पीशीज इन अ पर्टिकुलर एरिया इट रिप्रेजेंट्स स्पीशीज इवननेस। तो बेसिकली स्पीशीज इवननेस या फिर स्पीशीज इक्विटेबिलिटी जितनी कम होगी उतनी ज़्यादा स्पीशीज डाइवर्सिटी होगी। लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक एरिया में अगर अनरिलेटेड ऑर्गेनिजम्स होंगे, अनरिलेटेड स्पीशीज होंगी, तो हम लोग बोलेंगे कि वहाँ की स्पीशीज डाइवर्सिटी काफ़ी ज़्यादा है। जबकि इन एन एरिया जहाँ पर काफ़ी रिलेटेड स्पीशीज होंगे, मे बी सारी स्पीशीज डोमिनेंटली बर्ड्स की हैं, then we are going to say it is comparatively less in species diversity. However, कुछ एरियाज ऐसे भी होते हैं जहाँ पर एक डोमिनेंट स्पीशी होती है, उन एरियाज को एक्चुअली हम लोग लीस्ट डाइवर्स बोलते हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ देयर स्पीशीज। स्पीशीज डाइवर्सिटी को मेजर करने के लिए एक्चुअली हम लोग दोनों ही चीज को कंसिडर करते हैं, स्पीशीज रिचनेस एज वेल एज स्पीशीज इवननेस। इन फैक्ट स्पीशीज डाइवर्सिटी इज अ प्रोडक्ट ऑफ दीज टू। Then the third level of biological organization is ecological diversity. Ecological diversity, as the name suggests, it is diversity at the level of ecosystem or the community itself. So, जितनी ज़्यादा variety होगी ecosystems की in a particular area, we say that the ecological diversity is more. Like for example, simple सा example है, अगर हम लोग इंडिया के ecosystems को consider करें, इंडिया में desert भी होता है, रेन फॉरेस्ट होते हैं, मैंग्रोव्स होता है, देर आर कोरल रीफ्स, देर आर एक्वेटिक इकोसिस्टम, एस्चुरीज होती हैं, देर आर अल्पाइन मीडोज, इवन वेटलैंड्स आर देर. So India has a vast array of ecosystems and hence ecological diversity in it. Whereas in Scandinavian countries, like for example, if we take Norway for example, the ecological diversity is comparatively less. It is highly reduced because यहाँ पे obviously there is not a lot of variety in the ecosystems which are occurring, right? So compare करें अगर इंडिया से, the ecological diversity is much more in India as compared to Norway or certain other Scandinavian countries. If we are to measure ecological diversity, basically हम लोग इसको measure करते हैं in terms of the kind of specialization in niches, the trophic levels in the food chain, the nutrient cycling, the ecological processes which may be occurring, even the food webs which are occurring, the interrelationships between the food chains. All of these actually are a measure of ecological diversity in a particular area. Now, what about the global biodiversity? Well, according to the IUCN, International Union of Conservation of Nature, in 2004, अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर इन्वेंटरी, जहाँ पर सारी स्पीशीज जो डिस्कवर हुई थी उनका एज सच डेटा स्टोर किया जाता है, दे सेड दैट द नंबर ऑफ प्लांट एंड एनिमल स्पीशीज डिस्क्राइब्ड इज स्लाइटली मोर देन 1.5 मिलियन. इन फैक्ट लेट मी टेल यू कि टेम्परेट रीजन्स में स्पीशीज का एनालिसिस करना, उनका नंबर का एनालिसिस करना काफ़ी ज़्यादा आसान होता है कंपेयर टू द ट्रॉपिक्स, क्योंकि वहाँ पर स्पीशीज़ का नंबर इज़ वास्ट, इज़ वेरी हाई एज कंपेयर टू द टेम्परेट रीजन. सो टेम्परेट रीजन में तो हम कभी कभी कोई स्पीशीज़ को एग्जॉस्टिवली स्टडी कर भी सकते हैं, लेकिन इट ऑलमोस्ट बिकम्स नेक्स्ट टू इम्पॉसिबल इन द ट्रॉपिकल एरियाज. तो अब नाउ व्हाट द इकोलॉजिस्ट, द बायोलॉजिस्ट हैव स्टार्टेड डूइंग, दे हैव स्टार्टेड टू एस्टिमेट द नंबर ऑफ स्पीशीज़ बेस्ड ऑन अ स्टैटिस्टिकल मेथड. तो बेसिकली ये टेम्परेट और ट्रॉपिकल एरियाज को कंपेयर करता है ये मेथड. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल देयर इज एन इंसेक्ट स्पीशी जिसका एग्जॉस्टिव सर्वे हो चुका है इन द ट्रॉपिकल एरियाज एज वेल एज द टेम्परेट एरियाज, राइट. देन दैट पर्टिकुलर स्पीशीज इज एक्चुअली टेकन एज अ रेफरेंस और उस डेटा को एक्सट्रापोलेट किया जाता है टू अदर स्पीशीज सो दैट अ ग्रॉस एस्टिमेट कैन बी टेकन आउट एज टू हाउ मेनी स्पीशीज ऑफ डिफरेंट एनिमल और प्लांट ग्रुप्स कैन बी प्रेजेंट. और इसी टाइप के एस्टिमेट्स के थ्रू इकोलॉजिस्ट एंड साइंटिस्ट हैव सजेस्टेड कि द वर्ल्ड स्पीशीज दे मे रेंज फ्रॉम 20 to 50 million. Now that is a large number. However, another scientist, another ecologist by the name of Robert May has put up a more conservative and a kind of a more practical, scientifically practical estimate, and he has estimated the global species diversity at about 7 million. Well, let me tell you, 7 million में से almost सिर्फ 20 to 22% अभी तक डिस्कवर हुआ है. More than 50% of the biodiversity is still undiscovered and untapped. Now, what is the magnitude of biodiversity? कौन सा organismal group कितना भाग actually biodiversity का occupy करता है? Well, the number of animal species is almost equal to 70% of biodiversity. जबकि plant species are not more than 22%, right? और plant species में सब कुछ include होता है. Algae, funguses, bryophytes, gymnosperms, pteridosperms, angiosperms, all these are included within the 22% of the plant species which are present on the earth. Among animals अगर बात करें, सबसे largest जो group होता है, it occupies almost 70% of animal species, that is insect group. तो for example, अगर हम लोग 10 animals को analyze कर रहे हैं, उसमें probability ये है कि 7 of them are insects. So that is the amount of or rather the percentage of insects which are present in the animal group itself. Now here you can see certain pie charts also which will help you to gain a knowledge कि कौन सा group dominant होता है in the respective invertebrate, vertebrate and plant groups. Like for example in the invertebrate, like I said, insects is the major group, right? And उसके बाद आते हैं mollusks and then the other groups occupy small percentages. Whereas जब हम vertebrates में देखते हैं, fishes are the dominant group in terms of their number, in terms of their species. जबकि mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, they are sort of more or less equal, और maybe 19-20 का फर्क होता है सब में, right? Then in plants also we see कि fungus और angiosperms, मतलब lowest plants and the highest order plants, they are in great diversity, in great numbers and dominant. Whereas the other species like algae, it is less dominant than the angiosperms and funguses, but more dominant than other plant groups like lichens, mosses, ferns and allies, right? So that is how magnitude of biodiversity can be actually analyzed with the help of these pie charts. Now if we talk about biodiversity in India, well let me tell you, India का area तो as such world के हिसाब से बहुत कम है. Only 2.4% of the world's land area is occupied by India. And still we boast of 8.1% species diversity in the world. And that is the reason why India is one of the 12 mega diversity countries in the world. There are nearly 45,000 species of plants and more than twice as that of animals. And it is estimated कि more than 1 lakh plant species, more than 3 lakh animal species are yet to be discovered. मतलब अभी तक ये discover भी नहीं हुए हैं. तो कितना कम percentage है actually जो अभी discover हुआ है, and there is so much untapped potential in terms of biodiversity that needs to be discovered, as well as कैसे ये humans के लिए या as such पूरे ecosystem, पूरे world के लिए useful हो सकते हैं. However, because biodiversity is also being lost at an enormous rate, ये भी बहुत बड़ा खतरा है. It poses a threat on the undiscovered species also. The discovered species are undergoing extinction, so we do not actually know. Maybe the undiscovered species are also undergoing extinction even before they are being discovered. Now let us move on to patterns of biodiversity. See, जब हम biodiversity को consider करते हैं तो कभी भी biodiversity अलग अलग areas में अलग अलग patterns को लेके uniform नहीं होती है. Two of the major gradients that we actually see are altitude gradient and latitudinal gradients, right? However, there are other gradients also which may occur and lead to biological diversity at different levels, such as humidity gradients, geographical, topographical, amongst others. So let us talk about latitudinal gradient as one of the master gradients which actually leads to a lot of species diversity when we move on from the equator towards the poles. तो बेसिकली होता क्या है, इक्वेटर एज यू ऑल नो इज रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय 0 डिग्री लैटिट्यूड, राइट. और जैसे जैसे हम लोग पोल्स की तरफ मूव करते हैं, वी कम अक्रॉस द ट्रॉपिक्स, देन द टेम्परेट रीजन, देन द पोल्स, राइट. तो एज सच लैटिट्यूड्स बढ़ते जाते हैं, देयर इज एन इंक्रीज इन लैटिट्यूड. However, when we consider the temperature, the topography, the climatic conditions, we see कि इक्वेटर और ट्रॉपिक्स के पास में क्योंकि मॉडरेट क्लाइमेट होता है और रेनफॉल काफ़ी ज़्यादा होती है, तो टेम्परेचर्स और क्लाइमेट काफ़ी फेवरेबल होता है फॉर मोर स्पीशीज डाइवर्सिटी इन दिस रीजन, राइट. तो जब हम इक्वेटर से मूव करते हैं टुवर्ड्स द पोल, स्पीशीज डाइवर्सिटी घटती जाती है, यानी कि increase in latitude actually leads to a decrease in species diversity or on a whole biodiversity. So we can say biodiversity जो होती है वो maximum होती है near the equator tropics के region में as such, क्योंकि moderate climate होता है, right, and it becomes minimum in the Arctic region क्योंकि वहाँ पे you already know कि बहुत harsh climate होता है, even the organisms which are present are very specific and highly adapted to those regions. So comparatively वहाँ पर species diversity काफ़ी कम होती है. Now we can understand this with the help of a few examples. So for example, if we consider the different countries and the species of birds which are inhabiting it. So यहाँ पर हम लोग देखते हैं कोलंबिया जो कि actually इक्वेटर के पास है, this is the region of Colombia. It inhabits almost 1400 species of birds, right. If we compare it to New York, which sort of lies here at 41 degree north latitude, it has almost 105 species of birds only. इसको भी अगर हम लोग compare करें to Greenland, this particular area, this particular island, तो यहाँ पर actually सिर्फ 56 species मिलती हैं birds की. Now all of this compared to India जिसका actually काफ़ी ज़्यादा portion tropics में lie करता है, यानी कि काफ़ी ज़्यादा portion favorable climate में lie करता है, it harbors almost 1200 species of birds. So as you can see, जैसे जैसे हम लोग equator से poles की तरफ जा रहे हैं, the species is actually reducing, right? So biodiversity or species diversity on a whole reduces as we go higher up in the latitudes. Now another thing is the Amazon rainforest. Amazon rainforest actually ये area basically occupy करता है in South America, and as you can see tropical और equator के region को occupy करता है. So actually Amazon rainforest is said to be one of the most diverse regions in terms of biodiversity. ये actually harbor करता है, it is home to more than 40,000 species of plants, 3,000 species of fishes, 1,300 species of birds, 427 species of mammals, 427 species of amphibians as well, 378 of reptiles, and more than 1,25,000 species of invertebrates. Apart from that, in general, if we are to consider, देखो ये वाला जो region होता है ना, this is Ecuador, right? तो क्योंकि ये इक्वेटर के पास है, इसमें अगर हम लोग किसी species को compare कर रहे हैं, तो actually it can be more than 10 million in number when we compare it to any region which is located here. Equal region में अगर हम लोग मिड वेस्ट यूएसए को कंसिडर करें which lies in the temperate zone, तो कोई भी species will be more than 10 million times more diverse in the Ecuador, in the equatorial tropical region than it is in the temperate region. So I hope with these examples you have understood very well how latitudinal gradients can actually affect the kind of biodiversity which is present in different latitudes. Next, we move on to why there is so much greater diversity in the tropics when we compare it to the temperate or the polar regions. So first of all, ecologists and biologists have stated certain hypotheses जिसके basis पर as such हम लोग tropics को जान सकते हैं as to being more diverse. Some of these are, first of all, अगर हम लोगों को species diversity बढ़ानी है, it is generally taken as a function of time. meaning the speciation, the development of new species and its varieties actually requires a lot of time. It requires evolution in a habitat that is undisturbed, not going a lot of variations, right? तो ट्रॉपिक्स एज सच ऐसा टाइप का एनवायरमेंट, ऐसे टाइप का हैबिटेट और एरिया पोर्ट्रे करते हैं. सीजनल वेरिएशंस, नेचुरल डिस्टर्बेंसेस काफ़ी मिनिमम होते हैं इन द ट्रॉपिकल रीजन्स व्हेन वी कंपेयर इट टू द टेम्परेट रीजन्स, right? And that is why the species, they can actually evolve in this undisturbed land in terms of various years, right? Then the tropical areas, in terms of their climatic conditions, in terms of their topography, which is very complex, they also favor a lot of specialization in terms of their niches, and hence it leads to greater species diversity. The third point is related to solar energy. Because the tropics, they get parallel solar radiations and hence a greater solar radiation, therefore it is actually directed towards a greater productivity. और साइंटिस्ट ये एस्टिमेट करते हैं, हाइपोथेसाइज करते हैं कि अ ग्रेटर प्रोडक्टिविटी मीन्स अ ग्रेटर जेनेटिक डाइवर्सिटी. So these are the three reasons why there is greater diversity in the tropical regions. Next, let us talk about species area relationships. Basically, a German scientist by the name of Alexander von Humboldt, he began exploring the South American jungles. And what he observed or what he found out was कि जब exploration बढ़ने लगता है एक particular area का, एक particular region का, तो उसी के हिसाब से species richness भी बढ़ने लगती है, but only to a certain limit. जाहिर सी बात है, ज़्यादा एरिया एक्सप्लोर करेंगे तो हमें ज़्यादा स्पीशीज़ मिलने की संभावना बढ़ जाएगी, राइट? सो दैट इज़ व्हाट स्पीशीज़ एरिया रिलेशनशिप स्टेट. द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन स्पीशीज़ richness and area is kind of a rectangular hyperbola if we consider different angiospermic plants, birds, bats and freshwater fishes. अगर हम लोग इसी को log में लेते हैं, logarithmic growth देखते हैं of या logarithmic diversity देखते हैं in species in comparison to the area explored, then it gives a linear graph. Here let us see the graphical representation. So the blue representation is that of an hyperbola, which is in accordance to the equation S is equals to CA to the power Z. And when we convert it into log scale and represent it by the equation log S is equal to log C plus Z log A, then it gives a straight line. All the terms in these equation, let us look at that. S is species richness, A is the amount of area that is explored, Z is the slope of the line or regression coefficient which actually relates the two. It relates the species as well as the area, and C is obviously the y-intercept. Now if we are to talk about the slope of the line or regression coefficient, for most of the species which are being explored in a particular area, it ranges from 0.1 to 0.2. However, जब भी हम बहुत बड़ा एरिया कंसिडर करते हैं, then the slope or the regression coefficient may become more steep, यानी कि वो बढ़ सकता है in value to almost 0.6 to 1.2. Like for example, अगर हम लोग frugivorous animals consider करें, we count or we analyze the data of frugivorous birds and frugivorous mammals in different continents, then find out the regression coefficient, it is found to be 1.15. Right? So that is how the value of Z can actually differ when we are talking about different areas, right? And this was all for today. We'll meet again in the next class wherein we are going to discuss about biodiversity loss. Till then, revise all this. Stay tuned. Thank you.